I'm going to take it out because you can't see me if I stand behind this podium. Well, good to be with you this morning. We're trying to get this volume sorted out. But I would just want to start by asking you a question. What is the biggest problem in our world today? Is it world hunger? Is it the lack of clean water? Is it a political divide, racial unrest? Is it sex trafficking? Right? Those are all massive problems in our world today. But I want you to consider, what is the biggest problem in our world today? Like Jim said, my name is Aaron Deloach, and 12 months ago, I stepped out to start a global soccer ministry called Impact City FC to solve the biggest problem of all. See, the biggest problem in our world today is that people don't know Jesus. That is the biggest problem in our world today. And you might not know this statistic, but 4 out of 10 people in the world participate in soccer. 4 out of 10 people in the world, rich and poor, black and white, young and old, cities, villages, beaches, grass fields, mountain, rocky areas, it doesn't matter. 4 out of 10 people participate in soccer. And so Impact City FC has chosen to go into all the world through the game of soccer, to see people become fully devoted followers of Jesus. And part of the reason that we're here today is because we believe that that can happen right here. But we need help. Although we only started 12 months ago, my journey in soccer ministry didn't just start 12 months ago. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and there I grew up playing the game, fell in love with the game before I fell in love with Jesus, but Jesus got a hold of my heart at 17 years old. I went on to play college soccer, played professional soccer for 3 years, coached 5 seasons of college soccer, and became a pastor for the last decade. And so through all of those experiences, I feel like God has set me up for what we're doing now. And I don't know if you've ever had a moment like that in your life, where you feel like God has just set you up for something. So along the way, I've been developing a soccer ministry model through mission trips and through chaplaincy with professional players and through developing and training youth players and serving in inner city neighborhoods among refugees and immigrants. And this model that we've kind of built over the last 15 years of me doing this is the proven model we're now developing in 2 major cities. So in St. Louis, Missouri, where I'm from, we've got a fully operating model serving professional players through chaplaincy, youth players through a competitive Christian club with all Christian coaches who are delivering the gospel 4 times a week. It's a pretty significant impact that these guys are having on the lives of the next generation. We serve refugees in different neighborhoods in St. Louis, as well as send players and coaches on missions experiences overseas. That's the model that we're now replicating. So 2 cities now, St. Louis and Miami. And we've got a horizon out there for Dallas, San Diego, LA, Orange County, that area. And so we believe that God is calling us over the next 5 years to be planted in 10 U.S. cities. And we've got a vision to see today's players become tomorrow's leaders who serve their city and change the world. We don't believe it's enough for them to just come and us to invest in them. We believe that they need to start to become leaders and begin to serve and give their lives away to other people. And that's the model that we're creating. I got to tell you, it's been pretty fun to start this during COVID. But despite the challenges of sports and not being able to gather together, we've now got 247 youth players in our program. We're ministering to them 4 days a week. These coaches really do believe that they're there as life influencers. They coach the game at a high level. This is not recreational soccer. This is preparing players to be excellent. We've got 247 players that we're working with 4 days a week. We've got 3 chaplains now that have been placed at 3 different professional teams. And they've got a weekly Bible study that they host for players. Our coaches and chaplains have invested 4,700 hours of direct ministry this year. This is not office hours. This is direct ministry with people. And I want to share with you a number that I'm particularly excited about. It's the number 51. This year, in our first year of existence during COVID and all the challenges, we've seen 51 players make first-time decisions to follow Jesus. 51. And it's more than just a number. Each of these numbers have a name, like Alex and Carter and McKenna Young players, the next generation that now are with their coaches and being discipled in an ongoing way. It's not just like, hey, come to Jesus and then go your own way. No, they're being cared for all throughout the week and growing in their faith and becoming leaders and getting opportunities to give their lives away in the inner city and overseas. These 51 names are now written in the Lamb's Book of Life. And I don't think that we think about that enough. There is an eternity waiting, and that's why I'm saying that we are solving the biggest problem in our world today. I want you to just, for a few minutes, imagine this happening right here in Orange County. Reaching professional players and youth players and into inner city neighborhoods where they don't have access to the game or mentor coaches or godly people to continually pour in their life. Can you imagine this happening right here in Orange County? I want you to get that picture in your mind because that's why we're here today. I want you to consider helping us get established here in Orange County. Perhaps that's why God has you here today. Think of your friends, your family members, your neighbors. 4 out of 10 of them are connected to the game of soccer. And many of them, maybe you've already invited them to church and they've said, no. We're reaching a group of people who are more likely to step foot on the field than in the church. In fact, 50% of the pro players that come to our Bible study are not believers yet. And I've come to love this word yet. 50% of the families that come to our competitive youth club are not believers yet. You know why they come? Well, my kid made the team, and it's a good team, so I want them to be here. I want to tell you about a man named Dan. His daughter Angel made one of our teams in St. Louis, and he was thrilled to death that she made it. And he showed up, and he asked the coach, hey, can I help? And the coach said, well, I don't all the way know you yet, and obviously we've got some high standards for who our coaches are. We want them to play at the college level. We want them to have a testimony. We want them there to shepherd the hearts of a group of young people. He said, well, you can help like pick up the equipment, Dan, just like when we need it. And Dan told me that for the first couple months, he hated the fact that we opened the Bible at every practice and did that thing where we talked. And that he would try to pick up all the equipment on the other side of the field so he didn't have to be even close to it. He was practicing social distancing. But what's happened over the last couple months is Dan said, hey, I actually realized that I kind of liked listening to that. And so now I try to pick up the equipment near that huddle as you guys are doing the Bible study at practice on the field. I try to stay as close as I can because the thing that I hated is now becoming the thing that I love the most about this club. And Dan is not a Christian yet. I want to tell you about John Mark, a young man who lives in Cap Haitian, Haiti. We took our coaches on a missions experience down to Cap Haitian, Haiti to train coaches there how they can use soccer as a tool for ministry. 5 of these coaches really latched on to the vision, and they started running a youth soccer academy. And they started to run it on the same night at the same time as the voodoo worship was happening. Because they said the young people are getting mixed up in this, and John Mark was one of those kids being groomed to be a drummer in the voodoo worship services. But because a soccer academy started in his community, he started going to soccer practice instead. He's now given his life to Jesus. He's become the team captain and is learning how to play drums in their church worship band. That's one story of a kid somewhere around the world that you will never have the chance to meet. But then let's bring it a little bit closer to home. A young man named Tyler from Minnesota. He got drafted by the Vancouver Whitecaps in Major League Soccer, found himself in one of our chaplain's Bible studies, and he started coming for a couple months, curious, not made a decision yet to follow Jesus. He leaves when the season's over. He goes home. He has an encounter with the Lord. He gets on his knees and pours out his heart to God and says, I'm a sinner. I repent. I'm ready. And then he calls our chaplain. He says, hey, I want you to know, I made a decision to follow Jesus, and I never would have done it if there wasn't a place for me to ask questions and feel safe that I could do that and learn and grow. Thank you so much. Those are great stories, but I want you to hear from one of my friends named Riffin in his own words.
My name is Riffin Kajengu, and I was born in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I was 4 years old when I first fell in love with soccer. Using a ball made of plastic bags and goals from sticks, I was able to find an escape from the pain of poverty I faced each day. Little did I know how influential the game would be on my life. At the age of 8, a violent civil war gave my family an opportunity to find safety in the States. When we arrived, I met a neighborhood coach who cared more about me as a person than as a player. He inspired me to pursue my education, grow in my faith, and open doors for me to play club soccer. Eventually, I earned a chance to play college soccer and even had professional tryouts. It was a dream come true. Now as a coach, I'm developing players and helping them discover their purpose so that they can become leaders who serve their city and change the world. Knowing that there's another kid out there just like me motivates me to use the beautiful game to make an eternal impact in the lives of others. Together, we can change the game.
That's what it's all about. Seeing those stories, lives changed, and then them giving their lives away and investing in other people who will do the same thing. 1 Peter 4:10 says, each of us should use whatever gift we've received to faithfully administer God's grace in its various forms. You've got something, I've got something, and there's a whole group of people like Riffin who have this type of background and skill set who don't even know this type of ministry exists. Impact City, we're here to pave the way to enlist more people to jump in because we know that the fields are ripe for harvests. Maybe you remember the words of Jesus in Luke chapter 10. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. There's a whole group of people who are gifted in the game of soccer to play and to coach who don't even know that this type of ministry exists. We want to enlist them to do the work of ministry. So there are 3 simple ways that you can get involved today. The first way is to connect us with Christian stakeholders who would like to see Impact City FC launched here in Orange County. The second is to connect us with Christian soccer coaches who could get involved with us and see this dream become a reality here in this area. And the third is to become a part of our Impact City FC prayer network. We know that nothing happens without prayer. Nothing. Literally nothing. We're building a team of 100 prayer warriors who will really pray, not people who will say, yep, just give me the newsletter. We're looking for 100 prayer warriors who every month when we send out our email, they're saying, we're with you. We're praying. We believe that we can win this war in the spiritual first, and then we'll see it happen in the natural. 3 very simple ways that you can be involved. If we're really going to see Impact City take off here in Orange County, we know that there are some things that need to happen in 2021. We need to find a field to call our home. We need a home. We need a base. We need a field, and it needs to have lights. It gets dark at 5 o'clock, people. If we could extend those hours until 9 o'clock, the ability to impact more kids, more families, more professional players extends exponentially. We need a field with lights. Second thing that we're going to need if we're going to really do this is we need to identify and hire a director of coaching who can build out their coaching staff. This director of coaching needs to have played college soccer or higher and love the Lord and believe in the vision of really multiplying and making disciples. The third thing that we're going to need is we're going to need an address, an office space of sorts to really kind of have all of our equipment stored there, to have things sent back and forth to us. We're going to need to purchase equipment, and we're going to need to identify some of the key neighborhoods where refugees and immigrants live, that we might be able to serve the underserved, what Matthew 25 would call the least of these. They love the game. Many of them come from Buddhist or Hindu or Muslim backgrounds. They're brought here from Syria and Congo and Sudan and all sorts of places all over the world. And they love the game. We would never have a relationship with them except through the game. So we need to identify those neighborhoods. If you're interested in learning more, there is a 3-year strategic plan in the middle of your table. We'd love for you to take a look at that. You've got the feedback form there. I believe it's on page 27 in your book. I'll be at this table right here. Can you guys wave your hands, my table? I'll be right there. Would love to chat with you at the end. What you'll see there in the booklet is some of our financials and some of our needs. But one of the things that we know is it costs us $75,000 to $100,000 to get started in a city, depending on the market. Here in this area, it'll probably be closer to $100,000. But once we've got that initial investment, that ministry in that city becomes sustainable and doesn't need any more cash invested in it to see it happen. So here's what that means for us. If we were able to launch correctly here in Orange County, we could solve the biggest problem in our world today, and we could see kids and families and professionals come to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior long after we are gone. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for listening. Would love to get in contact with you. Here's all of my information. Talk to you soon.